All right, it's 2 o'clock, so we'll begin the session. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for today's program on protecting your digital presence from cyber threats. So before we begin the session, just a couple of reminders on Zoom program etiquette. Kindly remember to keep your cameras and microphones turned off so that we can have a seamless experience. If you have any questions during the session, you can just type them into the chat box and we will answer them at the end of the session. Okay, so now that the administrative things are out of the way, let me introduce today's topic. So in today's digital age, protecting your online presence from cyber threats is very important. Understanding the risks associated with cyber threats and implementing effective protective measures is essential. So in today's talk, we will dive into how to safeguard your digital footprint, providing insights and actions that you can take to mitigate cyber risks. Today's program is organized in collaboration with ASK Training. And introducing our speaker for today, Johnson is a highly experienced security architect at SourceCheck Private Limited and principal consultant at Heres Consulting Private Limited. With a background spanning over 6 years in government projects, he specializes in security design, planning, threat risk assessment, audit, compliance, and review. Johnson has trained thousands of students across various industries in cybersecurity, ranging from technical security to best practice security. So he's really in a great position to share with us on this topic today. Okay, so I'll hand the time over to Johnson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Can you all hear me? You can hear me, right? Okay. I'm going to start. I'm going to share with you how I'm going to run the program with you. Okay, the program is supposed to be 2 hours worth. So within the 2 hours, I'm going to share what I have collated for the program so that you have a little bit of introduction or a little bit of revision and awareness onto what is happening today. Okay, so you should be able to see that I have a slide deck available for you. You are encouraged to ask questions via the chat. You leave your questions there. I will read through the questions as the questions is being posted. If I find something very, very, very interesting, I will go through it during the session, or I will answer all the questions at the end of the session. I will probably use the talk to handle the chat rather than to type it. Of course, if you want me to type the answer, you can just tell me, I'll go to the chat, I'll type the answers in the chat. Okay, so if we were to start, I'll be sharing multiple cases with you. I'll try to do a little bit of demo with you. I won't be able to show you my own Google account because I'm a bit afraid. I won't be able to show you my Facebook account because I'm also afraid. So it's more of how we would go find things that can make our digital presence a little bit more safe. Okay, so I'm going to start. Give me a short while. Okay, so I'm going to make the screen full. So generally, what we have is we are very connected. Okay, we are very connected, and you discover as we are very, very connected, we have assumed multiple types of identity within the cyber presence as well as the physical presence. This kind of identity is useful in nature because we would have to be able to perform work, perform errands, and perform all kinds of necessary things in life using a digital or a physical presence. The program that we are going through is to share as much information as possible and hoping that we incite some form of thought process in you so that you'll be able to go spend a little bit of time to evaluate your consumption of the internet, your consumption of different e-commerce platforms, your consumption of multiple social media platforms, and your overall presence in the digital workspace. Okay, so who am I? I've been doing work in the field for a long time. I'm an IT person by birth. I've done cybersecurity for the last 10, 15 years. The last 6 years, I spent a little bit more time on it in the government space. I love training. So I'm a trainer part-time per se. So I love to talk about cybersecurity. It's generally my go-to topic currently for the last 8, 9 years or so. Okay. So I'm not going to do over marketing of myself. If you would like to know what is the scope that I'm covering, or you would like to read up on what I'm doing, you can go to LinkedIn and you can try to look for me, and you can take a look at my profile from there. As we talk about the digital presence, I would heavily encourage you reevaluate your consumption of the internet. Okay, so we are going to start. Okay, well, what am I presenting? I'm not here to scare anyone. Of course, generally, when we do cybersecurity topics, a lot of people will look at me and say, oh, Johnson, you're using scare tactics. It's sort of true. It's sort of true. But I would always like to share with people, scaring is a process where we hope you actually become a little bit more aware and not just reactively aware, more proactive purpose. As in, if I want to use the internet, how do I use it nicely? If I want to use e-commerce platform, how to use it nicely? If I want to do social media, how to use it nicely? Okay, we will share with you the risk that is there. We will share case study of how I go through the risk with you. I will share case study of what can happen. That's possibly scare tactic as well. And I will share with you things that you can do to sort of safeguard yourself better when you're using the internet. Okay, so I'm not here to scare you. I'm just hoping that the awareness and the reminders would help resonate something with you. Okay, so I'm going to start. So if you go into cybersecurity per se, or if you go into normal human life per se, we are working with something called identity. It identifies you. So I'm going to talk about identity from a digital perspective. I'm going to ask you to think about how many identities you have. I'm not going to solicit information about it. You do not have to tell me how many internet accounts do you have, but I want you to think about it. I also would like to share with you what does authentication mean. I would also share with you how we do it and the reason for doing it. And then the last one is to ask you whether you can actually remember how many internet presence you actually have. Okay, we're going to start off with the first one. So if we were to visit this thing, an identity is something that is taken for granted. Okay, today as a working person, okay, you need to be able to have an identity, because when you go to different places, you want to have access to resources. You want to be able to be identified because there are certain resources that belongs to you. And you want to be identified because you want to give instructions for things to happen. Okay, when you have anyone and everyone can have an identity. I have an identity with a bank, so like you. I have an identity with the National Library if I'm a library member. I have an identity in Singapore if I'm local born, if I am converted, or if I am a working adult in Singapore on a transit purposes. So there are different identities that we have. That is not the only identity that's available. There are a lot of different identities. So today, if I were to visit a forum, I register myself. There is a user ID. I have an email to represent myself. It is also an identity that I have. So when you take a look at the idea of identity, it is often a necessity in life, but it is often disregarded because it's very easy to create and it's very easy to forget. Like, for example, I've been doing the internet for I'm not been doing the internet. I've been using the internet for 20, 30 years or so. Yeah, I've done it since I was very young. I have so many different kinds of URL that I visited. There's so many kinds of forums, newsletters that I've registered. I have emails that I have forgotten. I have emails that I've been using. I have emails that I don't remember the password. And it's sort of something. So if you have this kind of situation, what are the risks that you might have, okay? Not necessary, yeah. But when you have an identity, authentication is required, okay? Authentication is required. Not everyone can understand the word authentication heavily. Of course, it's an English word. Authentication is a verification mechanism. It is to check that you are who you actually are. Yeah. And there are many, many different ways to do it. Okay. So today, if you take a look at authentication, we move back 15, 20, 25 years. Simple example, I go to the bank. How does the bank know I'm the correct person? They ask me for my IC. It still happens today, okay? They ask me for my IC. They ask me for my savings account. They will look at the IC, they look at you. They'll verify the IC with the savings account. And then they will sort of discover that, yeah, you are the correct person. Okay. So when you take a look at this, is this the proper way to do authentication? Last time it works. Last time it works. It's not wrong or right. It's just that it works last time. So are we doing it like this currently today? I think my last visit to the bank, which was a while back, they were requiring that I actually put up my face, which is a physical presence, as well as we don't have I don't have a savings bank with them. So what I do is I offer them my ATM card, but they'll need me to key in my ATM card's PIN number. So what are they trying to do? They are trying to prove that you are who you are. Okay. Think a little bit about it. If you have a physical presence, it's sort of not that difficult to verify who you are. If you have a physical presence, okay, is it possible that your eyesight is like mine, where it sort of fail you? Possible, okay, possible, but the digital one is easier to fail than the physical one. So if we were to touch it a little bit later, I didn't write this inside my slide because the topic is a little bit sensitive, but I will talk a little bit about it. It's more along the line of deep fakes. It's more along the line of all these AI-generated videos, voices, audios, and stuff like that. We will talk a little bit about it, but I don't write things because a lot of the referral documents and news is a little bit sensitive to share in the public space. You could search for it. I will share with you how you can search for it, and you can read it a little bit. Okay. How many different mechanisms can you use to prove? If you are familiar with consumption of authentication, there are many people who will sell you and say, oh, there is 2FA, there is MFA, and there is many different kinds of sexy words that they have outside. Is it wrong? It's not wrong. But you do have to understand how do we consume it and what's the actual purpose. Okay. Later, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. I will also share with you the difference between the mechanisms, yeah, the authentication mechanisms. So the first takeaway from this slide deck is to probably just think along the line of, I have authentication. Is the authentication I'm using safe? And what kind of identity do I have? And whether the authentication I'm using or whatever that's provided by the provider, is it good or not good? Yeah, so that's the first thing. Second one, you go into authentication mechanisms. Authentication mechanisms, generally speaking, if you are going for very, very traditional cybersecurity knowledge and know-how, we will say that it is something you know, something you have, and something you want. Okay. You go into the newer flavors, there are many, many sexy other variations, like people will tell me somewhere you are, or some other mechanisms that they have. I am pretty traditional. I think that this tree is relatively matured. Is it very good? Not really, but it's relatively matured and we can sort of understand. Okay. So we are going to continue with this, yeah. So if you take a look at, we looking at authentication. Sometimes we will authenticate you by asking you about something you already know in your mind. Yeah. So what are the examples of what you know in your mind, right? For example, you go to the ATM, ask you for your PIN, something that you know in your mind. I'll ask you for a password when you log in. I'll ask you for your mother's maiden name. I'll ask you for your name of your favorite dog. I'll ask you the first school that you have entered. I'll ask you for your favorite place of visit. This is called security questions. Yep. The ATM thing is called PIN. And then the regular one that you have password. And then there's another variation called passphrase. So if I were to just type on the screen to just give you different versions of it, right? If I were to do passwords, okay, maybe we'll just do PIN first. PIN is something that looks like this. PIN. Yeah, PIN. Then after that, you have your password. Password can be something that looks like this, very traditional password. I teach Microsoft training, so we use this password last time. So if you have a passphrase, this is an example of a passphrase. Yeah, this is the passphrase itself. So you look at it and say, oh, what's so special about it? We'll talk about it in very short. Of course, the very last one is the security question. So this is PIN, this is password, and then this is the passphrase. Okay. And then after that, the very last one that we have is a security question. Mother's maiden name, mother's maiden name. Okay, so I will not comment on whether the authentication for the what you know is good or bad. I'll just basically just dissect it with you. Then after that, you can go and decide whether it's good or bad. So if you take a look at the PIN number, it's very, if it's a 6-pin, we are thinking that there is a 999,999 chance of getting correct. So you're 1 out of 999,999. Okay, or maybe 1 million. Yeah, 1 million. So to ensure that you do not do a huge number of chance, you don't take a huge number of chance to break it. So what we do is we have number of tries. Okay, number of tries. Okay, so this is very, very common in the ATM setup where you have number of tries. Yeah. Is this good? I think it's sort of a limitation, because if you were to go to a physical device and you were to ask people to type password, I think they get frustrated. Yes, it's the same as I go to the AXS machine and I do bill payment and I do insurance payment there. They'll ask me for my PIN, they'll ask me for my name and whatever, and they give me a very small keyboard. Okay, it's very frustrating. So when you do security, sometimes there's this challenge between whether it is user-friendly, convenient, or convenient. That's correct. I think so. Yeah, then after that, whether it's secure. Okay, it's always a rubber band relationship. A rubber band relationship. You pull one side a lot, the other side is tension. You do security a lot, the user friendliness might go down. You do the security a lot, the convenience might go down. Yeah. So is there something that can work for everyone? Maybe. Is the implementation cost friendly? Not really. But you have to see what's available. Okay, I think password is fine. Later we'll cover a little bit of problems that you can have with password, like password reuse, like for example, the connective memory that you have, and you put up this information available for somebody when you generate your own password. Yeah, the password thingy we will settle. Yeah, so for the passphrase thingy, this is actually a problem. Why is it a problem? Most systems or applications, they don't like it. They don't like it too much. Why? Because of all the spaces. And actually, users don't like this too much too. Yeah. So users don't like this too. Okay, users don't like this too. So some small problems. Yeah. And if you take a look at something like a security question, this is not this difficult to discover. Okay. And I don't want to specifically talk bad about it. Okay, I'll just give you an example of what actually happens. So when I do teaching and I talk about security questions, or sometimes when I'm doing work outside, I ask them about security questions. I get implementations where they shock my life. Like for example, I had a student who came to me and said, I was asking about security question. He said, Johnson, I don't care about the security question. My answer for all the security question is blank. Then I'm like, blank, you left it blank. No, says Johnson, I typed blank, B-L-A-N-K. Then I'm like, oh, wow. Of course, in my heart, I'm not extremely proud of it. Yeah, but that's their problem. Then some people will do the regular things like QWERTY, I love you, blah, 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 blah. So why is this security question so special? It's so special because they do not really limit the inputs that you have. So you can be typing something very, very irresponsible. Okay. So you discover, you go to some websites, like for example, banking apps. Yeah, they will tell you for a password, and then you try to type something that's too simple and they start complaining. That's the part where it is not user-friendly. Yeah, that's the part that's not user-friendly. So you do have to understand that you to safeguard yourself, you do have to deliberate whether the convenience is what you're looking for. And if you really think that the convenience is what you're looking for, you would have to then gauge whether the possible losses and the possible problems that you face later is something that you can accept. Okay, so have to go and think about it and see whether it works for you. Okay, so this is the one that I have for the first one, which is the something that you know. Okay, what is the challenge with something that you know? Sometimes you can discover it, sometimes you accidentally leak it out, sometimes it's information that is very particular to you that's not difficult to find out. So we often think that just pure cognitive knowledge or pure something that you know, it is not the best way to settle a problem. Yeah, it's not the best way to do authentication. So then what happened is people then start to talk about MFA, or actually the first one that they had was 2FA. 2FA. And what was the 2FA that was very, very popular? So let me show you something that is very, very traditional. Okay. I happen to have my bag with me so I can show it to you. So I think it's safe to show you this because it's run out of battery and it's not in use. Okay. Yeah, this one is the one that I can show you, not the other one. The other one is working, so I can show you the other one. Okay. Give me a short while, okay? Coming up soon. So something you know, what is extremely useful last time was this lovely thing, which is a digital token. Okay. I'm sorry, the thing is a little bit small. There's a digital token. So if you have a banking account last time and you were doing the internet part of it, internet banking part of it, they will give you a token. A lot of people call it an OTP token. Not something that's wrong. It works. And I know when you do this, people will start commenting that, oh my God, this is very troublesome. Correct. Okay, what is the reason for this? It is to actually talk about whether you are able to do two different ways to verify yourself. I'll verify you with what you actually know. I will also verify you with what you actually have. Okay. Now, if you happen to have your token, I think that's really very, very nice. Seriously, I actually still use my tokens. I'm not a particularly digital token fan. I'll share with you why is it that many. I don't have anything against the implementation from the establishments. It's just that at heart, I'm traditionally very I'm a traditional person. I feel secure when I carry this thing. And if I do a digital token, I'm like, oh. And then you see me, my jaw will drop a little bit. Okay. But this is something that you have. It's, of course, an inconvenience that you have to face. I have seen cases of people telling me, oh, Johnson, I go overseas, I try to do some transactions and I forgot my token and it doesn't work. I agree with you. I agree with you. But you see, that's the idea. That's the idea. You are the actual person, you find that it's difficult. If you are not the person and you're impersonating it, it's even more difficult. Okay. So sometimes we want a situation where we want to make it very difficult for the attacker, but we want to make it very simple for ourselves. So you have to really think whether this mechanism is really seriously feasible or not. Okay, so it's something you have. Yeah, so if you take a look at tokens, we actually have many, many different types of tokens. Yeah, we have many, many different types of tokens. Okay, so I can also give you further examples. I'll try to give you examples through the entire engagement because I don't want to just talk about things. It's very, very boring for you. Okay, so hopefully you don't fall asleep in my seminar. Okay, I have over here a very small token. This token is a door scanning token. It's not the one that scans into my house. It scans into my compound. Yeah, so it's a static token. Okay, what's so special about static token? A static token is something that you really have. It doesn't have any other way to verify whether you are the legitimate owner or not. Yeah, just like if you take a look at all these tokens, right? There's actually no real way to legitimize whether you really own it. Okay, so like this token, I could easily go to any illegal establishment and get them to clone it for me. So it's like, if they clone it for you, can you use? I think because I cloned it before. Yeah. I have many bad reasons to tell you why I clone it, but you don't have to know. Yeah. So I get access into my compound. And then from there, I can try to access my house with my keys. Okay. So if you take a look at the ownership part, we have what we call static tokens. Then we also have what we call dynamic tokens. Dynamic token is those kind of token that probably will have some form of challenges that they'll challenge you for something. Okay. If you have used these bank tokens, we often have people telling me OTP. Okay, OTP. OTP doesn't really challenge you. It'll give you, you type, it works. Okay, it's to prove that you own that device. But if you're talking about a challenge, for example, okay, you can go try this. Go and do a bank transfer to somebody. Yeah. Okay, maybe a bit difficult for you. Okay, I have a corporate banking account. When I'm doing salary payment, I'm actually supposed to do multiple things. Like for example, go to the digital token, press 1, then the input will appear. I have to key in the bank account number, or I have to key in the amount I'm transferring. Then the second one, I have to key OK. Then the input will go in again. Then I'll key in the banking account number, and they'll give me an OTP on the device itself. Based on the device itself, or this OTP, I'm supposed to inject it in the screen that comes from the bank, and then the bank will verify whether this is legitimate. Yeah, so we call that a dynamic token. There are many different types of dynamic token. It can be a combination. It can be specifically a dynamic token. As long as it does something more than a scan, we sort of think it is a dynamic token. Okay? Yeah. But basically what you have is it's just something that proves that you have it. That's it. Finished. The very last one that you see is something that is gaining so much popularity. I basically feel that it is nice. It is only a small issue if you are a privacy-driven person. Okay. So if you discover, I think there is this growing phenomena in the industry, in the wider space of people, where people start to worry that their personal information is compromised. There can be many reasons for it because you feel privacy-driven issues can happen to you, like people stalk you, people dox you, or you can have sensitive information about yourself being leaked and stuff like that. Nothing wrong. Okay, we care more about our personal data today. It's also because impersonation can happen, scams can happen, so on and so forth can happen. It is also a very, very big topic for everyone related today, whether it is the government, whether it's an establishment, whether is it the user, or whether is it the actual attackers. We are all very concerned about it. Okay? Every new invention that happens, we have to go and evaluate it. So if you see something you are, generally I'll tell people, a lot of us would have a very, very good experience of it, as in we have used it before. So if you own an Apple phone and your Apple phone is not the one that's very, very legacy, they are probably some the brand that populates or promotes Face ID a lot, and a lot of people use it. Whether you like it or not, it is available. Some people say it's not safe. I won't disagree with that. I won't disagree with that. I've never felt that anything is safe, actually. I tell you very frankly. It's just that I'm more a risk person. I deliberate whether it is risky or not. If it's risky, then I worry. If it's not that risky, then never mind. Okay, maybe you can take the same mindset as well. Yeah. So if you were to hold on to a digital presence and you were to engage yourself in the internet heavily, and you were to share information about yourself heavily, you just have to ensure that if any information is leaked, if it's compromised, and then you don't get affected too heavily, then I think it's fine. Okay. But every single person's ability to bear responsibility and to take the outcome is very different. Okay. So something you are examples of them, you have it from Apple where you have Face ID. Android populates this idea of fingerprints very heavily. What are other variations that we probably see? I think you go to ICA today, which is our immigrations authority. They do iris. Iris is the part where you're looking at the front of your eyeball. Okay. What's the nice thing about it? I personally think that it is a very good I'm sorry about the delay. I'm trying to find a word for you. It's a very good compromise between it being secure, sort of secure, versus it being very convenient. Okay. So if I were to do something that's very secure with you, other than iris scan, there's another variant called retina scan. Okay, you can go and Google for it. You can go and search for it. Retina scan is when you have a device and you have to put your eye socket very near the device until you go and touch it. And then what the scanner will do is the scanner will hit the back of your iris or the back of your eyeball, and they'll do the blood vessel scanning of the thing behind your eyeball. Okay, why is this very good? It's because it is very accurate. It's very accurate. It's very, very hard to duplicate retina patterns. But from a privacy perspective or from a usage perspective, right, this eye socket thingy, the cupping thingy, it doesn't feel clean whenever I use it. So you have to go and deliberate whether, oh, do I really need to be so safe? How about the users using it? Yeah. So that one is the one that's very, very safe. But if you're taking a look at iris scan, I'm not saying iris scan is not safe. It's just that iris scan, there is a chance the thing will fail, because what can happen is you can start doing contact lenses, you can start to have issues with the distance, you can have issues with whether how sensitive the scanner is. So there are different kinds of variants that can affect the overall experience and security of using the biometric scanner. Yeah. What else do we actually have? So I've covered fingerprint, I've covered face, I've covered eyeballs, iris and retina. The other one that has a little bit of traction, I use the word traction, is actually palm. It's actually palm. So I'll tell you about something that is happening overseas. I'm not trying to sell any country here, but if you were to visit China, there are countries that does facial recognition very, very heavily. They use it for payment, they use it for buying train tickets and stuff like that. So they use facial recognitions very heavily, but there's a lot of criticism that storing facial recognition or facial impressions is a privacy breach. Yeah. So what has now become something else is that now they use palm as well. Yeah, they use palm as well. So you can go check it out and see where they can find a video. I do swiping of TikTok once in a while. I don't have it on my phone though. Yeah, I do it on the net on using a desktop machine, which is very, very awkward. Okay, so what can happen is I've seen a video where someone, a citizen from China, they buy high-speed rail ticket, and of course they have onboarded their palm, and they'll go past the gate using palm scan. Yeah, I probably think it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know how sensitive is the scanner. I don't know whether they'll get it wrong. I'm not very sure. But I did hear that there are thoughtful implementations being thought of within the space of Singapore, that it is being deliberated whether it's also a useful functionality. So I'm actually very happy that there are many different inventions along the line of biometric because we all have very, very different concerns. Like, I don't like people to do facial recognition. I use facial recognition on my iPhone. I don't like it. Yeah, but I like the convenience. So I'm like plain lazy. Okay. I know students will look at me or attendees in the webinar, they'll look at me and say, Johnson, why are you so concerned about it? Okay. So let me just say something. It's just a thought process. And you just decide whether it is like correct or not. Okay. Let's say Johnson, you know that Johnson has got an iPhone. let's say you know that Johnson has got banking accounts on my iPhone. Let's say I fall asleep somewhere. Let's say I get knocked down by a car, I become unconscious somewhere. Let's say I am unconscious somewhere. And you know, and you pick up my phone, you do a facial recognition, open my eyeball, do a facial recognition. You got into my iPhone, you log into the banking account that I have, do facial recognition again. Anyway, I'm unconscious, right? You do a facial recognition. From the facial recognition, you do a bank transfer, you do facial recognition one more time. So it's like you facial recognition 3 times. And what can happen? Facial recognition has gone through. Okay. Is this a concern? Is this a concern? It is a concern for me. Initially, when Face ID came out, there was a very big joke happening in America because they were one of the earliest to receive iPhone. They were talking that they have got couples, they sleep together, and then they will wear masks over their head to make sure that the Face ID didn't work on them. I laughed about it, but to me I keep thinking, this is a concern. Is this a consideration that we need to have? If you are saying that it is safe, so how safe is safe? I'm not saying that the person beside you is not safe. I'm just saying that it is a possibility that can happen. And this possibility that can happen, you have to think about whether it affects you or not. Okay? Can do? Let me see. Don't your eyes need to be open for face biometric? Okay, so if you take a look, there are many different variations of this kind of biometric. Yeah. So it's like some of them simply needs you to have certain features. Okay, so generally, what are the features they look for, right? I think they look for cheekbones. They look for your mouth. Okay, they look for your nose bridge. They look for your T-zone. They might look for your eye also. Okay, but what can happen is they might require the eye to be open, but sometimes they just make sure that the eye is there and the eyeball will be open. So it's not, I don't think every single system requires that. It depends on what is their failure rate they're looking for. Of course, if you have the better ones, they might ask you to prove that you're alive and whatever. But sometimes it is not always that manner. Okay, maybe I'll share this. This is a very, very funny clip that I saw. Okay, I don't have that clip with me. You can go swipe it and see whether you can find it. So there's this school in China again. So there's this place, it's a kindergarten. So the kindergarten has a mechanism where if you're late for school, they will lock you out the door. You have to press the bell and then someone will come in. Before you come in, they will reprimand you. It's kindergarten. So there's this little boy, he goes into class and he's late every single day. And the teacher finds very interesting that he's late, but he comes in and nobody knows how he came in. So they ask him and say, dear boy, how did you come in, right? So what happens is the door and the notice board is a short distance away. So what the boy did was the boy told the teacher, he said, teacher, you see your pictures on the screen, right? I took your picture and I did a facial scan. I opened the door, I go and stick it back, then I come in. Then they were like, it works. So they tried it and it actually works. So what am I trying to share with you? Sometimes facial recognition devices, even biometric fingerprint devices, it depends on what kind of sensitivity they are looking for. It depends on what kind of data point they are looking for as well. Some can be very, very sensitive. Some can be very, very friendly. The one that's very, very friendly is very scary. The one that's very, very sensitive is a little bit expensive. Okay, so it's more along that line. Yeah. So if you are okay, so if you are working with the facial recognition thingy, I don't think you're doing facial recognition when you enter your house in Singapore, but there's a lot more people doing the fingerprint. There's a lot more people who brings token, then they have the electronic gate access. Please understand that it is a product that could fail. And you have to know whether the failure will affect you or not heavily. Okay. Like I'll tell people, if you have a lot of things inside the house and something happens as a breach into the house, and you lose a lot of things, then please get a electronic gate that is like safer and has got more mechanisms and whatever, versus not having something that's like that. Okay. Yeah, because we are looking for a lot of convenience now. There's a lot of these smart things that's happening today in regular houses. Okay. All these different kind of smart devices, it increases your exposure to the connectivity. I won't use the word increase your exposure to the internet, okay? But I'll say increases your exposure to connectivity. A lot of us consume technology very heavily, but we actually don't really think very, very heavy about the risk of using technology blindly. I'm not saying technology is bad. I personally love technology. I've been using it for a long time. But please try and get a little bit more understanding and education about how cyber security affects your consumption of IT. Yeah, that's all I'm looking for. I'm not stopping you from using. I'm not here to tell you not to use TikTok. I'm not here to tell you not to use Spotify. I'm not here to tell you not to use Facebook. I'm telling you to use them safely. Okay, yeah. So I think did we cover biometric properly? We did the palm, we did the finger, we did the retina, we did the iris, we did the face. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Yeah. So what is MFA? So MFA is multiple forms of authentication. I'm going to give you one example. Then you think a little bit about it. Yeah. Okay. So today, if let's say I'm asking you for a PIN, a password, and your facial recognition, okay? Don't need to give me answer. You can give me answer. I'm very happy because yeah, I'm engaging you on the platform. But you tell me how many FA is this? FA. So how many forms of authentication is this? You get it wrong, it's fine. Okay, your purpose of coming into this session with me is to hopefully gather some nice information from me and not waste your 2 hours with me. Okay, so you discover a lot of people tell me, let me see the answers that's coming in. I'll give you like 5 seconds or 10 seconds to go and consume it. Okay, you see 2, you see 3, you see 3, you see 3, you see 3, you see 3. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. 3, 3, 3, 2. Yeah. Type. Come. I want to make sure that everyone that's here is alive with me. Let me just wait like 5 seconds more. I'm actually also hoping that I get younger kids to come in because their consumption of digital stuff is a little bit more. I'm not sure about the attendees. I'm hoping that you're all nice parents or you're all nice aunties and uncles or nice cousins. And if the program works well for you, hopefully please sign up for more National Library stuff. Okay, I have 3 and 2. I want to tell you that the correct answer is 2. Why? Because this 2 is what you know. And then this one is what you are. Can you understand? Okay, why is this a very, very strong problem for me? Okay, why is this a very strong problem? Just this past week, this Monday to Friday, I was teaching a cybersecurity topic as well. And I was talking this with my student. So if you go in and take a look at your phone. So phone is something which you can tell me it is what you have, correct? Yeah, this is what you have. So if you think a little bit, okay, I won't ask you all to raise hands, yeah, because I don't think I need to know this information from you. But I want you all to think, do you have banking, e-commerce apps, okay, inside your phone? Okay, do you have that? Okay, next question, I want you to think a little bit. Do you store your password, PIN, user ID inside the app and access it via the biometric thingy. Or you don't use the biometric stuff, but you still use SMS OTP. Okay, I want you to think about it. Okay, why is this a challenge for me, right? Because if you take a look at this whole mechanism now, the phone is what you have, the user ID and password is what you know. And the biometric thingy that you're currently using, okay, the biometric stuff is actually what you are. Yeah. So you discover I'm using different words. Previously, I was teaching something you know, something you have, and something you are. It's also what you know, what you have, and what you are. Yeah, so it's the same. Okay, what you are. So the challenge I have is all of the above is inside the phone. So tell me, safe or not safe? Okay. I know you'll be looking at me and say, oh, Johnson, you're giving the static now, right? You're trying to do this to scare all of us, right? So there are examples of it. I don't really want to talk about it too much because it's a little bit sensitive to talk about it. You can search for it to know, yeah, whether you have phone malware or you have those kind of banking malware and whatever, and then scams happen, money get transferred away. So when you read all this, there's a break somewhere, there's a gap somewhere, something must have happened. What has happened? What has been compromised? A lot of all this information is not readily available. A lot of this information could be available, but you don't really understand it. I know if I say this, it sounds really bad. Okay, whenever this kind of thing happen, I will read it and I will joke that I'm all right because it didn't happen to me. Okay, so does it sound nice when I say that? Of course not. Yeah, but I also need people to understand that we say that because primarily we are responsible for the problem. I should do whatever available within my sphere of influence to ensure that it is relatively safe for me to use. Okay, let me see the chats that's coming in. No common sense, not safe enough, convenient and profitable for the bank. How many times Google asks if I want to save the password, should we save it or not? Okay, I don't think you should save unless you are pretty sure your device that you save it to is not being compromised. I tend not to be extremely confident about the phones. Okay, the main reason why I'm not confident about the phone is because traditionally as a tech person, we have more knowledge about a desktop and a laptop because they use an operating system that we're familiar with. So I can put in antivirus, I can put anti-malware and stuff like that. I sort of have a little bit more confidence it works. Whereas for the phone, today we could be using apps that SG Secure has suggested or the Singapore Police Force has suggested. But the issue is whether or not it helps with everything and most of the thing. And do you have familiarity? If you do not have that, then you'll be a little bit careful. Okay, I'm going to share something I'm doing. It's just, I'm not asking everyone to do it. It's just an advice that I have because people do ask me what I do. Okay, so it's like people ask me, Johnson, are you escaping technology? Then my answer to them, no, I'm still using technology. Then they say, do you use it on the phone? I say, yes, I do use it on the phone. Then they ask me, how do I make it safe? Then I tell them, I have a very awkward way to make it safe. And I'm going to share it with you now. Okay, I'm not going to write anything here. They are recording it. So, okay, number one. So if you were to read news, if you were to read news, right? Quite a fair bit of the scams are, okay, I'm not going to talk bad about the product, but it's an actual fact that happens. I can explain why. A lot of the scam that's happening currently that is being reported happens to an Android phone. Okay, it happens to Android phone. I know now you worry a little bit like, oh, Johnson, I have an Android with me, how? Or I have a Samsung with me, how? Okay, wait. Okay, so I basically have an iPhone with me. So you can see the lovely Apple brand here. I'm not doing marketing for Apple, okay? I don't have shares with them, so don't worry. I'm just talking about it. So what happens is I have iPhone and I have Android phone. I have both phones. Okay, what's the reason? It's because the iPhone itself, I use it primarily for banking purposes and e-commerce. Okay, maybe I'll use the word banking is correct, not e-commerce. So my banking stuff is here, and my SingPass is here, all here. Okay, what's so special about putting in Android, right? I've done two extra mechanisms. Number one, sorry, on the Apple phone. On the Apple phone itself, there's a technical term that we use. They do not allow side loading. Okay, whereas Android allows side loading. Okay, what does it mean for the run of the ordinary people out there, right? The non-technical. Firstly, if you never do anything funny to iPhone, you cannot install anything away from the Apple Store. All of you. Some people say it's very inconvenient. I will tell people it is only a problem if the problematic software goes to the App Store. Is someone checking it for you? They say they are, and we hope they are doing it. Okay, but basically that's the first thing that you have. Choose to have a phone where you cannot install anything as and when you like. Okay, so you have to make sure that happens. On the Android phone, I have my WhatsApp, I have my Facebook, I don't use Twitter. Okay, I have my Facebook, I have my Carousel, I have my Grab, everything is there. But my credit card is not onboarded to the phone, and I don't have any payment mechanism available on the other phone. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's it. So what's so special about this phone? Number one, this phone is Apple. So the Apple itself is to ensure that you don't do side loading. That's the first mechanism. Second mechanism I have a phone number available for it, but the phone number is not available to anybody. So any phone I receive here, I won't answer. Any SMS that I receive, I will delete. So basically it's a phone number that works, but it's only for me to have internet access. That's it. I don't take phone calls here. I don't have WhatsApp here. I delete all the SMSs. And basically this is a phone that has connectivity, but zero usage. Okay. So I probably think when I talk to people about this, they're like, oh, Johnson, you're a little bit overhead, you're a little bit overkill. Really. I worry. And I do cybersecurity training. I shouldn't put myself under that risk, right? It's very similar to how we see a lot of companies doing implementation. I know some of you are working adults here. You would have heard of people talking about air gapping their devices. So some of you may work in certain sectors, some of you will work in certain places. You might be working in a bank. You discover you bring a laptop home, you can't really use it. It doesn't connect to anything. You can't do Wi-Fi, you can VPN or whatever. So it's very awkward. You're working with our government sector, and you're working in the relatively sensitive areas. They give you two different laptops, one to use within the company and one to use outside of the company for internet access and SM and emails. So why are we doing this? It's because that thing that has access to important things, we cut off the access. Anything that needs to be connected, we make it connect. Okay. So I actually didn't want to talk about this within this scope, but I probably was thinking that you might draw some lessons from what I've just shared, and you can check whether it is something that you can contemplate a little bit. It's not the best foolproof mechanism, but it's an alternative that you can think about. Okay, so this is authentication mechanism. Let me just continue. Do I use PayNow for my phone? I have PayNow, but the PayNow is on a bank account that I have very little money. It's on the other Android phone. The rest, right, I don't use. I don't do any PayNow on the Apple phone. I use it on the Android phone. I have a bank account, and the bank account is $500. So what's my damages, right? $500. Okay, can you want to know what is the apex of scared to die? I am almost apex of scared to die already. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, next. Okay, so questions that I always like the student to have is ask yourself how many identities do you have and do you actually remember you have an identity? Okay, why is this very important? This digital identity that you have, firstly, we mentioned, you don't have a physical possibility to verify yourself. It is a challenge already. Second, this kind of identities that you have digitally, someone might know you from somewhere. Someone might know this information is useful. This digital presence or identity that you have could leak out information about yourself. Or you might have a password that you have reused. Okay. So think about all these things that you have. Go sit down. Go sit down. Think about how many identities you really have. When I was preparing for this webinar, I actually went to sit down and I was thinking, oh my God, across this 25 years, I at least have like 100 internet accounts, It's like so scary. And I have like dropped so many of them, but they're still alive within the platform. So it's like I've done development last time when I was younger. So I visit multiple forums. I keep my email there. It's registered. And I have a password with them. And I reuse some of the passwords. I don't use that password now. But that password is used to have access to multiple things. And it's a little bit worrying sometimes. Okay, let me see the chat request that's coming in. Safer to use credit than debit card for online payment. I feel maybe this is a little bit sensitive to touch, but I'll just talk about it. Yeah. I think that when you're using the debit account, what is sort of like nice is that you can only minus away what your account has. That's it. But the bad thing about it is when they take it away, right? It's very hard to chase it back. Whereas if you're using a credit card account, because the credit card account is the bank pays the merchant and then you pay the bank. So what can happen is if you can convince the bank that there's a fraudulent transaction, that things can be elevated. But how do you prove to the bank that you have that it is a fraudulent transaction, right? Think along the line of the bank requiring that you have an OTP or the digital token thingy. So if you have an OTP injected into the payment, then you can't repute that it is a fraudulent transaction. And the bank will not trust us anyway. They will not think that it is not our transaction. So that you would have to think along that line. So either my suggestion is you still do it, but understand that when you use the internet that there might be losses, and just control the losses that you have. How do we prevent our data at e-commerce platform like Shopee and Shopee from being breached? Wow, this is like really tough. I'm going to share with you something that's very bad on my side. I don't use them. Okay, I don't use. I know when I say that you'll be like really upset about it, but I would just share with students. We as consumers, okay, the first thing that you can try is this. I do not share too much information with you. That means anything that's mandatory, then I will give. Anything that's not mandatory, I won't share. Anything that's very sensitive, you ask yourself. Okay, why? Because on their side, they can keep certain information and they're supposed to have security safeguard on certain information. Example, when you do credit card payment, does platform like Shopback or Shopee keep your credit card info, right? The answer is it's possible for them to keep the info, but they don't keep the CVV number. You get what I mean? Along that line. So if you want to use, you have to expose certain information to them, and you're hopeful that they will keep your information safe. But then what can happen is if there's a breach, then there will be regulatory and legislative punishment implemented. That part I can only share with you and tell you that have to be a little bit more prudent with what you're sharing with them. Okay, since telco allow us to block international call, why can't the bank allow us to block international charges? I think this mechanism is maybe a thought process that they have. Okay, think a little bit. I'm like trying to answer what the bank is doing, but hopefully this is something useful for you. If you think a little bit, last time when we have internet banking started, you will have automatically a internet banking account provision for you. You don't know how to use this, still provision for you. Today, the internet banking is still provision for you. But then what is going to happen now is they are allowing you to have those digital safe or digital lock enabled account, which basically means you do not allow money to be moved away from your banking account. Okay, unless you do a physical presence. I think that's the start of what they might think about doing the blocking of a transaction. But I don't think they are deliberating whether international money lock. I don't think they are doing the international charging thingy because the idea of money is to facilitate payment across global space, and there is no inbuilt functionality to say that if you have a certain type of account that we will stop it from being paid. I don't know whether this will happen. I think if it becomes a serious problem, that they might make it work or they might make it happen. But in the meantime, oh my God, you ask them no answer, you ask me. I don't work for the bank. Okay, but if you think along that line, I think it is not a wrong thing to implement. No, it's not a wrong thing to implement. I'm not okay. Because I don't work for them, so I don't profess to answer their question. I'm thinking more in the line of whether it's feasible to implement in the current workspace or not. So I think if more people ask for it, if there's a lot more challenges faced by the public in using this kind of functionality, and it becomes a feasible part of it, maybe with some legislation, it may happen. I'm not very sure. I was thinking along your line as well of whether it is feasible. I think if a lot more people ask for it, it will happen. Not as in you protest or whatever. It's more like, hey, why don't you think about the idea of having a account that doesn't allow international charges? Yeah, so can call it credit lock. Also can call it foreign lock. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry because I understand. The international the e-commerce platform that we are doing now or we are using now, they will put in as many security mechanisms as possible, but I think it's always easier to attack or bring down stuff than to build stuff. They can put in a lot of security controls, they can put in a lot of security mechanisms, but things can always happen. We can only protect what we know. We can't protect what we don't know. But the attackers are trying to find out what we don't know, take advantage of it, and hope we don't know. So it's always a fight between what we as defenders want to do versus what they as the attacker wants to try. Yeah, so it's more maybe along the line of thinking whether is it worthwhile for you to use it, and if you need to do it, whether how to do it safely. Okay, maybe a little bit extra along this line. Example number one, maybe if you have your information stolen, to prevent it from being stolen, the sensitive information that they probably need you to give them will be things like your name, which personally for me is not sensitive, okay? Yeah, it's not sensitive. The one that's sensitive is actually my address. So do you know that there are some functionalities where they'll do things like, I don't know what they call it, they pop boxes, post boxes or whatever. Yeah, maybe that thing might work as well. So instead of them delivering to your place, right, deliver to the pop station shops or whatever, go take it from there. Or take it from a collection area that's near to your place, but not your actual place. So your address itself is not compromised. Then after that, also, if you have a phone number, whether it's the regular phone number that you have versus a spare phone number that is not really that extremely important. Yeah, so maybe along the line, I'm deliberating this for my own house. Having a phone that has a number that we use for generic e-commerce thingy, and we can give up whenever we need to. along this line. I don't know whether it works well for you, because I share my phone number with my students, but that's a work phone number. My own personal number, I've owned it for a long time. I don't get a lot of scam calls from that because I don't share with a lot of people. And I have the other phone number on the iPhone that I don't really use. If you have 3 numbers, do you have one that you can like sort of give up or sort of rotate? Yeah, you can think along that line, see whether it's useful for you. But of course, address then a little bit difficult. Because I can't ask you to buy multiple houses. Okay. Yeah. So have to be a little bit careful. Yeah. Okay, let me continue because I can't finish. Okay. So how many identities do you have? Next thing. So can you remember all the identities that you created? Why is it a concern? Do you use the same user ID? A lot of the places ask us for an email. That's actually the same user ID. What's the bad thing about using the same user ID? So if I'm an attacker, I attack the provider. Okay. We don't call it Shopee, we call it Lucky. Okay. I attack the provider, I get the information. Then I'll be like, okay, this is an email that is used. Okay, I get it from somewhere. Or I go and try this email that you have with another platform, and I try it with a password that I've stolen. I check whether it can work or not. So, and a lot of us got this very bad problem. We love to reuse our password. Okay, and then sometimes when you go into the platform, you share a lot of information. So I will always have this very strong fear of sharing a lot of my personal information that's very critical to a lot of people. I don't do that purposely unless it's required. Okay. So this identity that you have, do they have details about you that allow other people to know what you already know, or allow them to find out what you are knowing? Because what you know is used for authenticating yourself. Okay. And all this identity is a treasure trove for attackers. So, like for example, you might have friends and they like to share their escapades. They share where they go to, they share what they buy, they share glimpse of their places. All this information that you're sharing is nice socially, but is it good if an attacker can use it? So think along that line. Okay, let me see what is being shared. What would a VPN help? How about password manager? This one I cover later, short while later. Later part. Yeah, we are talking about the countermeasures really. So we'll do that one in a very short while. Okay, understanding the risk. What's the risk of having many different identities? I'm going to talk about 5 only. I won't talk about law. Okay, I'll talk about law. I'm representing ASK training. So if you need to know more, you can find out whether they have it or not. Okay, I'm going to talk about phishing, identity theft, password reuse, social media awareness, as well as cyber stalking. I don't think I will cover cyber stalking too much. I'll probably talk about it because I couldn't really find a case of so-called cyber stalking today that is extremely nice to share, because quite a lot of the cyber stalking cases that is being shared in the news, right, is actually a police case. Because someone will report that they're being stalked, they're being followed home and stuff like that. And for me, it's like, wow, I don't think I'll talk about this in class or I'll talk about this in the webinar. It's not very nice. But if you were really to check this out, it's very, very daunting. It's very scary. Okay, you do the first one. So you can take a look at it. Okay, and there's this QR code. You can scan it if you want to. Okay. Before you start scanning the QR code, one thing I want you to think about, okay, is whether this QR code is correct or not correct. Okay. Later I want to do a demo of something, then we'll talk about it. Okay. So if I will share this, I want to go through this with you. We'll do a little bit of details for it. So if I were to go into the site, so it's a link. Yeah. So I'm not here to scare you about the money. I just want to talk about a few things. Number one. Okay. So you discover quite a lot of all this phishing generally is to steal precious information of you. Okay. So why do they call it phishing, right? It's basically fish, F-I-S-H. I'm trying to fish for a victim. Okay, why does it start with P? Because a lot of phishing starts with phone. Then now you discover there's SMS phishing type. There is also voice phishing type. There's email phishing type. There's many different type of phishing type because you are trying to steal information. Okay, they're trying to steal information. So you scroll down a little bit. What you will see is that it's generally phishing that becomes scams because they want to steal money off you. What are the different places that you can fall for it, right? I think it's a growing problem, especially in Singapore. Like, for example, being scammed on the e-commerce platform. Yeah. I won't want to comment about whether a platform is safe or not. Okay. But I just want you to roughly think about it in this manner. Buying from RedMart, buying from Q10, buying from Lazada is very, very different from buying on Carousel. Okay, why? Because if you're buying from Carousel, Carousel only lets you meet the buyer and they don't handle the transaction. You go to RedMart, go to Lazada, you go to Shopee, I think Shopee also. You're supposed to pay the platform and not pay the merchant. Okay, why is it more safe to pay the platform and not pay the merchant? Because it's a possibility you can take money back or ask for refund from the platform. But if you are buying from Carousel, or you're buying from Facebook Marketplace, or you're buying from any platform that allows you to go meet the buyer direct, or they send to you direct, then you be very, very careful. Okay, that's all I just want to tell you. You have to remember, it is not their platform that's not safe. Okay, don't say their platform is not safe. It's not a correct word to use. It's the way the transaction is being run that's not safe. Not the platform. Carousel is not here to cheat you. Likewise, Facebook Marketplace is not here to cheat you. It's our consumption of it that matters. Today, I would never believe that I send $1,800 over the internet to somebody and a phone will magically appear in front of my house. I never believe in that. Okay. If the thing is, I will still do e-commerce. I will still do it. I will still send money if I can bear the losses. I have a mouse in front of you. I bought the mouse from Carousel. The person say, you send me $40, I'll send to you. I told myself, $40 can. If I lose the $40, then I'll just report the guy that says cheating. That's it. I'll lose $40. Do I expect to get back the $40? No. No. That's why you have to think about whether you can suffer the loss or not. Yeah. So e-commerce scam is one of them. Job scam is very, very, I think job scam is very, very upcoming now. Very, very upcoming. I've read many news of it. People saying that you go, they give you this job or they give you this marketing gimmick, and then you have to go and visit the website, pay some money, get some money in return. It happens very, very frequently. They will attempt to bring you to the scam. They will attempt to give you some nice things and they get you hooked. And then after that, they get you to believe them. Okay. I don't want to use the word greedy on anybody. Okay. But you have to understand that certain kind of money, right, cannot be earned in that manner. Yeah. So there are remote work that's available. There are this kind of jobs that's available, but you have to understand what are your losses if anything bad happens. I just want you to think about that. Okay. Yeah. So if you take a look at the case itself, okay. E-commerce scam, job scam, phishing scam, many different types. How are they reaching you? They are reaching you through all the connectivity that you have in life. Your WhatsApp. Even now, Telegram is very, very popular. I think WhatsApp is very scary. I receive like people pulling me into WhatsApp group frequently. It's becoming better. Shouldn't be a problem for you now. Yeah. But once in a while, it still won't work. They still pull me into a group. Then after that, I don't use Telegram per se. I have got my students asking me to install Telegram. I'll install for them, but I don't use it for anything other than to talk. I won't be conducting any transactions over it, and so on and so forth. I use social media to stalk people. And I'm joking, not stalk people. I use it to get updates on my friend's life. I don't do posting. I don't share information about myself easily. Yeah, if you know me, you know me. You don't know me, doesn't matter. You all know me, not difficult. You see me for class, you see me in a project, you can difficult, yeah. Okay, online shopping platform, very popular, group buys, and whatever, it's all very popular. Can they reach you or not? Why not? Okay. Yeah. Every time I read all this, I get a little bit upset about it. Like, for example, I see people scamming lady doing confinement. I feel very angry at such things. Like, come on, people buying food, don't scam the lady when she buys confinement food off the internet. She's already needing the food to have nourishment for herself. Don't do such things. But you see this kind of scam happens and it's terrible. Okay, so phishing cases. What's the thought process for the scammer? Money is a very, very strong motive. Very, very strong motive. What else can happen? Financial info. So if you are looking at the chat, you get a sharing from Timon. Oh, so it's attendee. I don't know. I won't know him. Okay, but you think a little bit about it. They will tell you that there is an unauthorized credit card transaction after you travel. They will tell you you have received money into a certain account. I want you to know this specifically, okay? I'm not saying this as a notice from anybody. I just need you to know. You're not supposed to receive illegal money through your bank account. You can tell people you don't know, but you receive and you don't report, you're in trouble. After you receive, don't use it, please. There is a problem, or there is a crime in Singapore called money mule, M-U-L-E. Don't get yourself into that trouble, please. Okay? Yeah. So other than the phishing of financial information leak as well as money transferred over, sometimes they want you to review important information like your place of residence, your date of birth, your password, and so on and so forth. Okay, it's more to know what you know so that I can settle the authentication part. Okay, next thing. So what's the risk of having many identity theft? Okay, a lot of people would feel it's a YouTube link, so I'm not gonna click it. I'm not gonna show you YouTube inside my session. I love to talk. You can discover I love to talk. I don't like to show videos. You can watch the videos on your own. You can take the slide deck from ASK. I'm gonna show you how you get it from them and go to their website and get it. Okay, but identity theft could mean your credit card identity being stolen. It could mean your Google account identity being stolen. It could mean your whatever identity, cyber identity or digital identity being stolen. Okay, you would have to know and think about what is the repercussions of your identity being stolen. Okay, what are your losses? Okay, let me see what is the thing they share. How to check if a hyperlink is safe. This one very nice. Later I'll share with you also. Okay. Next thing. So identity theft, the type of attack, they want to steal your identity. That's the identity. Why do they want to steal your identity? They want to steal your identity not by telling you. They want to steal your identity because they want to reach other people that I think what you probably would have read is this people creating a Facebook account that looks like yours. They add the friends that you know using a naming convention that's very similar to yours. They reach out to your friend, talk to your friend, tell your friend to transfer money to them. You don't know anything that's happening like that until someone tells you. Okay. So even if you are safe, they can find different ways to attack. They might not hit you actually from the money perspective, but they hit your reputation. So it could still happen in that manner. And I whenever I reach this part, right, I have a lot of people tell me, then what can we do? Nothing. Seriously. You just have to be vigilant. You just have to take note about it. Then if everyone is sharing this information with everybody, then hopefully awareness appears and this kind of thing happens lesser. Okay, they're trying to reach other people or entity that knows you. Okay, next thing. So what's the thought process for identity theft? They impersonate, they try to act as you. They give instruction to people or identity that know you. For the identity theft thingy, a lot of people probably study it along the line of this thing called social engineering. I think it's nice to learn it that manner, but there's many different ways to do it, and there's many different attacks. Yeah, so I'm just sharing a few with you as well. Okay, so this is like, I think my second one. I'm gonna do the third one with you. Yeah, and this one is like a very big problem that we have. We take a look at it. You think about it on your own. I will always joke. I share with my students that I have a few bank accounts in Singapore. I have multiple bank accounts because I want to make sure that I can take money whenever I need to. But then the first question we have is, do you use the same PIN number? And then I'll tell them, no, I don't. So hopefully you don't do the same thing as well, okay? Or hopefully you do the same thing as me, as in have multiple PIN numbers. Yeah, okay. So shoppers in Singapore tend to reuse login details as well as password. Not only, okay, there's a few things that we have inside here. Number one, having multiple passwords. Wait, I don't want to show you my email. Having multiple login or having shared login accounts is in two manners. Number one, using it, duplicating it across multiple platforms, or using something specifically like Google for everybody. Okay, I'll show you one website that I use. I use it for training purposes. I just want to show you a login tab. Okay, a login tab. So you see a login tab like that. So I'm visiting a website. It's called Learn on Demand. You discover I do a sign in, and then you discover the sign itself is with Google. I can click on Google now. Okay, then when I click on Google, I go in via a Google account. Then you discover I have access immediately. Okay, is this very nice? Is this very nice? Okay, from a consumption perspective, from a functionality, convenience perspective, best. Okay, it's best until the account is compromised. If the account is compromised, you have a lot of problem. Seriously, a lot of problem. Okay, so later on, we'll talk a little bit about it, but have to be very, very careful about accounts being compromised, especially if the identity is used in many, many, many different locations. Okay, so if we were to go back to here, so this is our Straits Time. So you can scroll down a little bit. They'll tell you a whole chunk of people use the same user ID and password for many different accounts, not only for accounts, they use it for banking stuff as well. They use it for different e-commerce platform as well. You scroll down a little bit, they'll tell you, actually everybody has the same problem because no one wants to have multiple identity. Okay, no one wants to have multiple identity. Yeah. So if you were to see the chat, I had a comment from, let me see, Lily, that talks about password manager. You could probably think of whether that thing is useful for you, as in, instead of you remembering the password for Google, then you let the password manager remember for you. But then the question, two questions that we have is this. Number one, you have the final master key to that password manager. You must make sure you don't lose that. Okay. Second, we pray that the password manager don't get a problem. Okay, we pray that they don't have a problem. So if I were to scare you a little bit, okay, just scare you a little bit. Let me use this to scare you a little bit. This is a password manager. Yeah. So if you read a little bit, okay, this is from them. Maybe not reading from them is good. Can see LastPass, right? LastPass. They actually went through a very bad year in 2022 and 2023 because it happened a few times. Yeah, it happened a few times. Yeah, and it's their software that got compromised. Why did the software got compromised? It's a very long news. I won't have the capacity to share this news with you because I've read it a little bit only. I don't think I'm the best person to share this with you. If you're keen, you can go read it a little bit. They'll tell you the reason for being compromised, and they'll tell you what things got compromised and stuff like that. So I'm not selling bad news about them. It's just that because you rely on a password manager, And if you rely on the password manager, there's always this possibility that this password manager software has a problem, right? And you might be impacted as well. Okay, yeah. So next thing that we have here, okay, so this one is done. Let me continue. What number is my slide deck now? Haven't finished. Oh my God. Okay. So what are they trying to do? Stolen authentication information that may allow the attacker to assume more of your other identity because your password is reused. They may even take over your account. And this one probably, I think you might have friends, or you might have, if it happens to you, I'm so sorry, please, that your account is compromised, it's been locked, someone takes over it and you can't recover. Okay, so you just have to remember that you cannot walk into Google, Facebook, and tell them you are that person and you want to take over the account. They don't have a recovery mechanism like that. Okay. So if your account is really compromised and being taken over, then too bad. If I say that, I know I sound very nasty to you, but it's really just too bad, seriously speaking. So same thing. You have to know what's the risk, and you have to know whether you can accept the risk that happens to you. Okay. Attacker may use this to take over other accounts and restrict your access as well. So this can be a very big problem. Okay. Yeah. So avenues for the scammer, they are not reaching you as well. They are reaching other people or entity that know you with your password reuse, and they want to impersonate you. You'll probably know once you can't log in. You probably know once you're locked out or something. So it's actually very scary if, let's say, your phone, you're logged in and then you discover, oops, it's taken over, you're locked out of everything, you panic, you want to recover, you can't recover. If it really happens to you, oh dear. Yeah, oh dear. Okay. So they impersonate or act as you, same thing, they give instruction to people or entities that know you. I have my fourth one. Okay, this is a link. You can get the links from anywhere. Okay, this is not the only link that's available. Social media is very important for our ability to connect to other people digitally, to be able to share our joy with everybody. Be very aware of what you're sharing. Be very aware of what you share with, who you share with. What are the risks if you are looking at social media consumption? Some of the information you see here is repeated. I took down the link, and because there's 11 of them, so I just have to share with you. Okay. So what is clickjacking? What is fake giveaway? We'll share a little bit about how it works. So if you go into the link, So I'll just go in and see. Yeah. And then I'll just share with you a little bit. So number one, you discover there's this thing called lightjacking or clickjacking. I'll just basically tell you what it means. You go to places, you go to websites. This browser thingy you have is a very special product. Yeah. So sometimes when you go to a website and a pop-up appears and you click the pop-up and something else appears, right? Basically, the ability for the browser to host multiple layers of things on the browser allows this kind of clickjacking to happen. Okay. What are the damaging things that can happen in the clickjacking? There's a possibility that the clickjacking itself can cause malware to be downloaded, not installed, downloaded onto your environment. So if you see this in the phone, they could download a malware to your phone. Is the malware installed? A very, very small possibility that they can do no-click installation, but that one is really beyond the scope of the training to talk about it. There is a very, very small chance that this could work, but they normally don't target normal people like us. Yeah. So clicking on things within the internet, you have to be a little bit careful. Okay. Next thing. So they'll share with you about the lightjacking and the clickjacking thingy. Next. Let me see. I have another chat coming in. If our account is being hijacked under such circumstances, what can we do? Actually, I have to tell you very frankly, I really, really don't. Seriously. So it's like if you have, like for example, you go to Google, there is actually a secondary account that can use to recover the first account. Yeah, you use to recover first account. So the idea is you can recover the first account if you can manage to recover it before the attacker remove it away from the account. Once they remove it away from the account, right, then I think from my perspective, right, from my knowledge, right, cannot recover anymore. Then you have to go and redo all the things like recreate an account, something else. Then after that, get a password, announce to all your friends that it has changed and stuff like that. So actually, once you lose important digital identity, it's very troublesome. It's seriously very troublesome. I think if you were to ask around, you have heard of friends saying, oh, my Instagram account is hijacked, my Facebook account is hijacked, or my whatever account is hijacked, right? Then how? Then how? No answer, no. You can't go to the Facebook bosses or go to the TikTok bosses or go to the Google bosses and you tell them my account was hijacked. No one will entertain us in this manner. So you have to understand that their recovery mechanism is made available, but there are factors that you need to observe before the parameter can work for you. If I'm an attacker, I would compromise your account. I will delete away your service recovery, or change the phone number, or change the password. Okay, I'm sorry, I look very bad, right? I look very bad. Okay, yeah, you can use different kinds of browsers. Not all browser can stop the pop-up though. Not all. Generally, when you stop all the pop-up, it has got to do with stopping a functionality called JavaScript. Not everybody enjoys the non-functionality part of it. Okay, can. Yeah. Fake giveaway, this one you know. I think not all of it is fake, but like 99% is fake. Yeah, like 99% is fake. So you just have to be a bit careful. Yeah. Okay. Here you also have got unbelievable news. You can click in. Clicking into things within the phone is actually very dangerous. Clicking on things in the laptop or desktop is a little bit lesser danger. Mainly because on the phone and desktop, we have a lot of inbuilt knowledge as well as software that can help us do detection. But on the phone itself, it's a little bit harder. Yeah, I know some people will come to me and say, Johnson, I've heard of Mobile Guardian, I've heard about Mobile Iron, I've heard about Carbon Black, I've heard about all this sexy stuff. Yeah. They work. But do you really want to install it? Are you safe? Are you sure that it works well for you? And is your interaction with them affecting your convenience in life? Yeah, so have to think about whether you want to consume those kind of things. Okay. Affiliate scam, let me see, incentive program where company pay a fee to drive traffic. This one also quite common. They will tell you, oh, visit this website, do this, get paid a little bit of money. They'll pay you a little bit, they get you hooked. They tell you have to pay a little bit money, upgrade yourself. Then, yeah, so maybe this one quite common as well as email as well. Yeah, so quite a fair bit. Like I register for things also, but what email do I use? Do I use my personal email? Do I use my work email? Or do I use a generic email that I don't really bother? Yeah, so it depends on whether you want to have this kind of identity to consume services outside. Okay, next. Fake friends, followers. I think you read this a little bit. I'm not asking you not to make friends. I'm just wondering whether you really should have like 5,000 friends in Facebook. No. If you really have it, I'm very happy for you. You're well connected. You're well liked. I don't have so many friends on Facebook. Okay, I don't have so many friends across my whole life. Yeah, so you have to see whether it works well for you. Okay. Number 6, phishing attempts. This one quite easy. Anyway, I'm going to show you here since we are already here. So if you see that on my desktop, I purposely created this for you. Yeah, I created this for you. Okay, so you discover, I'm going to delete this once I'm done with this lesson, okay? You discover it's just a demo link to tell you I'm not a phishing link. So what can normally happen here is most people, for convenience sake, you will click. Correct enough? Correct? So you just click. Yeah. Of course, for it, I think you have to press. I don't know how to make it click. Oh dear. Shucks. Okay, wait. I'm almost at the end of my demo and then I'm failing my demo. Oh dear, how come the clicking link didn't work? Wait, see whether I press control. I'm pressing control. No, I don't want to copy and paste. I'm trying to show you the bad thing first. Okay, because if you copy and paste, you're actually copying and pasting the correct thing. But if you click, right, if I do the click into this, yeah, I try control click, cannot. Never mind. Let me show you in another manner. I want to show student this thing or show attendees this thing. It's actually quite standard. So let's say we do google.com, okay, or that link that we have just now previously. Actually, I can change it. Okay, maybe PDF is not a good demo place for me to work with. You discover this one becomes a URL because it's highlighted. Oh, wait, HTTPS. Okay, let me see whether it works or not, okay? Can I like click the link? Interesting, why cannot? Okay, never mind. Let's say we just do this. So we just do www.google.com. Yeah, so if I were to make sure that it's a link, I click, it goes through google.com. I can actually change it, which is what the attacker might do. I go in and then let's say I'll change it to something else, but I'll still make sure the link appears the same. Okay, I edit, I bring you to somewhere else. Okay, let's say I bring you to Hotmail, or I bring you to Facebook. Yeah, I bring you to Facebook. Okay, so I'll bring you to Facebook. Okay, so if you discover now, of course, if I do the control click, right, it actually brings me to Facebook. Okay, if you receive this kind of links, which is very common, you can receive it where you can receive it in emails, you can receive it in, yeah, I think it's because it's not changed to a link, my bad. Okay, if you receive it in emails, you receive it in a file, what can happen is we are very used to clicking it. Okay, but the question is the link written there the actual link that you are being clicked and sent to, which is a different story. Which is the different story. People will ask me, what's the impact of me visiting the website and then they redirect me to somewhere before they redirect me to the correct place? We have this functionality in the internet attacking called cross-site scripting. Is the ability to steal your session information away from you. We call it a session ID. And I can reuse that session ID to visit the website that you're visiting. And I can masquerade as you or impersonate as you. So this capability, I won't go into the technical details of it, yeah, because this is an easy topic that we're all covering, right? But that possibility can become something that's important for them to take advantage of in giving you a link click that is actually not the real website that you're going to. Or you might actually go to the website, but before you go to the website, you go somewhere else first. Okay, so you have to take note that when you see links like this, like what I think it was Dorothy, Doreen was the one sharing, right? Copy and pasting it is always safer because you're copying the text and you can see the actual text. How do you know whether the text is correct? That one is another story, a longer story. You have to know whether the URL is owned by the correct person or owned by the correct entity. Okay, we call it a registry or DNS lookup. Yeah, sorry, registry lookup. We call it who is. Maybe short while later I'll show you. Just short while later. Okay. So your social media awareness, let me finish off with the rest that's available here. So phishing, dating scam. I won't talk about that. That one not it's just common that we have. You can use a link checker also, no problem. But sometimes it's not that I don't think, okay, it's not correct to say that we are lazy. It's just that it's not always in our mind. And sometimes we think there is a border that we have. So sometimes you discover some people don't want to do it. But you discover, I think, like we have, I think during COVID, they were sending us to a URL to go to visit a government website, and they always ask us to check whether the link is correct. Yeah, that's the mechanism that they have in place. Good, but not everyone likes it because they feel that it's a little bit troublesome. Okay, does it mean that if you click on HTTP link, it is malware? No. When you click on HTTP link, there's a possibility they will send you to somewhere or collect information from you as their main purpose. It might not always be that manner, it could happen. It's the same as just now along the way. I think we had a comment where is using VPN safe or not? It's the same question is if you visit an attacker's website and it's HTTPS, is it safe or not? Okay, yeah, the matter is the same. Yeah. So if you never key any info, you are still safe. Actually, not really true. Not really true. Because you discover, like we go to a lot of websites. Sometimes you have an automatic login functionality. Some information must be flying around that you didn't key right, and they take it off you, right? Yeah, it must be either inside your phone or inside your laptop or inside your device, and they take the information. We call this information session information. I don't need to know your password. I need to be able to hold on to the session that you currently use. Yeah, okay, can do, can do. Doreen is asking you all to use very, very, very good functionalities. You can go and read the comment that comes from her. DuckDuckGo, Brave are all very nice browsers. It's just not regular browsers that we use. Yeah, like you discover I'm using Chrome. Okay. Firefox. Yeah, Firefox is just like that. Yeah. Brave and DuckDuckGo is really nice, but it's not run off the mill software. Yeah, it's alternative. Okay, come. Next thing. So the type of scam that's available. So identity theft, fake apps loaded with virus, cyberbullying is another one. That's the one I'm very upset about. But it doesn't matter. It will happen in life. And you will hear terms like keyboard warriors and stuff like that, what cancel culture. All these are things that's happening. And if you are exposed to the internet, you're exposed to social media, you have got family that's exposed to social media, understanding what is happening, understanding how it impacts the person is also important. Okay, private message with dodgy links, same thing. You'll probably receive this once in a while via your phone. Okay, so how do they reach you? They use social media. What's the thought process? Tons of information available. Sometimes authentication information is available inside. Okay, very good. I'm going to move into the next phases already. So I spend 1 hour each sharing all the scary stuff with you. We're going to spend a little bit of time to know how to protect ourselves. Okay. So when you are sharing digital information, or you are exposing your digital information, or part of what your digital presence has, what information are you really sharing? Okay. Is the information sensitive, critical or not? Who are you sharing it to? Do you actually know who you're sharing to? Okay. Once you go on the internet, snapshot can appear, people can take snips, people can take camera. Do you know you're sharing it to other people? Okay. So just have to know the risk with it. Give me a short while, okay? Okay, I'm very sorry because there's voices outside, so I'm getting someone to help me close the window. Okay, next thing. Okay, so do you scan the QR code? If you did, right, so the question is, did the QR code bring you to the correct place? Or did something weird happen? Okay, nothing will happen. I did the QR code as a normal QR code link. I didn't do anything funny to it. But whenever you scan a QR code, do you really think about it? Do you really think about it? And the mechanism that you're using, the scanning of QR code, what does it actually do for you? Are you logging into some place and then the QR code link you to somewhere? Are they asking for payment? Are you supposed to do financial transaction? Are you sharing sensitive information when you do all this? A lot of all this convenience-driven functionality, when you use them, have to be a little bit more suspicious of them. Okay, next. Okay, what are the signs that something bad has happened to your account? So we have things like unusual account activity, we have unknown device, we have strange emails, messages, password changes, failed logins, unexpected posts, activity, unusual account settings, and stuff like that. Okay, before we talk about setting all these things, I have a few questions that I've written that is going to let you think a little bit about all these things that we have here. Number one, if you're talking about unusual account activity, do you actually really know what is unusual account activity? Do you really know? Like, do you notice that you're posting? Like, do you post? Do you notice changes made to your post? Do you notice that there's other posting that you have not done? Do you notice that your account is doing funny things, is getting connected to other things? Do you actually know that? Yeah, you know what's unusual. Next, do you know which device is connected? So for example, if you're using accounts like Google, you're using accounts, I think like Facebook, they could tell you if you know where to search. They could tell you what devices has your account in them. Okay, it's a very nice synchronization functionality to help your account be synchronized along many different platforms. But if you didn't monitor it, it's also possible for your information to be captured or to have a device by an attacker having your account. Yeah. So do you actually know which device is connected to your account? Okay. Strange emails or messages. I know some people look at me and say, what do you mean by strange email and messages? What can they do? This one probably more in the line of how office people think about it. Yeah. So for example, because I'm doing cybersecurity for work purposes, right? Let's say if I'm an attacker, I want to find out about your environment. I want to steal information. When I steal information, I have to pass this information out to the attacker. The attacker is not continuously connected. One simple way is to send out email with information, because your email connectivity allows the email to be sent out. So the question is, do you actually read them? Do you read that your account is sending out email? Are you so overwhelmed with the emails amounts that you have that you don't even monitor? Okay. I know a lot of us look at incoming emails and spam and stuff like that. But the question is it possible that your information is also being sent out via your email? Yeah. Password changes without your notification. The functionality that you're using, do they even notify you that your password has changed? Or they don't notify you? Yeah. So a lot of people look at me and say, oh, they should. Okay. They probably would have that setting if you've enabled it. Yeah, if it's a default setting that's not enabled, that's not their fault. That's because the setting is enabled. Sorry, the setting is available, but you didn't enable it. So I have to know whether all these questions matters to you. Yeah. So we have 4 here. We have the other 5. So unusual account settings. Do you know what settings you have? That's like a important question. You know what settings you have? Do you know what setting is normal? Do you know what settings are unusual? Yeah. So failed login, do you have any configuration to tell you about it, that people have logged in and people have failed the login? Do you actually see? Most of the social media platforms may have, but it might not be enabled by default, or the platform is new and they have not done that yet. So when you use it, you have to be a little bit careful. So unexpected posts, unauthorized access to link apps. We are using our account for a lot of things. Yeah, like the Google one that you saw just now, we are looking to a website. We're using it and it's linked. So the question is, all this linking information could be available somewhere and they could pick information on what you're actually using. So all these things that we have to look at unauthorized access, right? Have you configured it? Do you know what needs to be configured? Do you know how to configure it? Do you know whether it's configurable? All these are very nice questions I always like to ask. Okay, last one. When you're looking at, I'm very happy that I have got attendees coming. I don't think you're dropping off yet, so I'm actually pretty happy. But the question I have is, if you're keen on cyber or digital security, digital presence, security of digital presence, are you suspicious of anything or you're not suspicious of anything? I'm basically suspicious of everything. Okay. So are you a half cup full person or you're a half cup empty person? I'm quite negative. I'm always half cup empty. So are you the half cup full person? Oh, no one notified me. I'm quite safe. Yeah. So you think along this line, okay? A bit more. What are the protective measures available? Right. I won't stop you. I won't ask you to say and don't use the thing. Yeah, because you have your life. Then you need to use it. You use it, but use it carefully. So before you use your account, configure it to make sure that the account is safe. Yeah. So using your account, be very careful. Sharing of information, be very careful. Monitor what is being done. So monitor what you do and monitor what you have configured. Okay. Monitor what you do and monitor what you configured. Ensure that you always see whether the security updates from your social media platform, right? What have they done new? So that you can see whether you can embrace the new functionality that they have enabled. Okay. Yeah, then go for more awareness training education. So I'm always encouraging people to go for webinars, especially if it's run by us. Not run by me, but run by us. Yeah. So all these webinars are just nuggets of information that we share, and we hope it's useful for you. Okay. A few more slides and we're done. How do you get security advisory? So I'm going to do the demo with you. I will normally tell the student this or the webinar attendees this. So for example, if I don't want to know how to secure my Google account, right, we will always search it in this manner. Okay. Then what will you see is, firstly, never be very keen about all these cute icons. It's always very nice, but people can fake it. Yeah. Next, URLs that you get here. Whatever is typed here is nice, but it's supposed to point you to the actual place that you're going to. Okay. Then the next one is to know whether google.com belongs to Google. Yeah, so I can just do one search and show you. We call it who is. We call it who is. Huh? Oh, shucks. Who is. Yeah, so it's a technical capability that we use. We don't do this frequently. We just do it once. We call it who is. Then you go to who is. You just check who owns Google or who owns Hotmail or who owns whatever. So you do Google. Then you search. Okay. No, not register domain name. Oh my God, I'm trying to search for it. Why are they asking me to register Google? I can't register Google. Give me this. Okay. Yeah, so they will probably tell you how who has it. This is a registration service, a premium registration service. So sometimes you will see the actual company's name. Sometimes you will see registration services. So having the registration services, there is a third party that does the registration and they will do the verification of the actual company that they are who they say they are. Yeah. So you can use this to verify. Not the best way to do, but another way to do. Okay. Yeah. So let's say if I'm doing the security part of it, so you can copy the link. You're worried, you can go and take a look at what's here. You're happy with it, take the thing, copy the thing, it belongs to Google, take the thing, paste it, take a look at it. Yeah. They'll bring you to your actual account. You can sign in. Then from there, the settings will appear. Then you can go and learn what the settings are and know whether which setting is safe. You can also search for people giving you advice on how to do better settings and stuff like that. But if you really want to do it correctly, best to take it from the actual source. So can go to the actual source, which comes from Google, or go to someone that you trust a little bit more with regards to how the settings should run. Okay. Next. So ensure that the link is a valid link. You may even want to copy and paste the link on your browser instead of clicking on the link. Yeah, I apologize. My PDF file, I didn't press it to make it a hyperlink. I should have done it correctly. Apologies. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, so what can you do? Be very, very aware of phishing. Okay, so you be vigilant about it. So what does it mean? Any emails that comes in, any phone that come in, any WhatsApp that comes in, any SMS that comes in, try and be more security aware of it, okay, rather than to be more trusted. Try to be more security aware of it. If you are sometimes more keen, you can try and find out what is happening from a attacking perspective. That means what is the current landscape that's happening, like what kind of attack is more popular and stuff like that. But that's like an overkill. Yeah, that's more work done by me or for myself. Okay, so phishing vigilance, identity theft defense. We were talking about password manager. You can have one user ID, have passphrase, have a password manager, use the identity in many places, but make sure your password is very, very, very safe and make sure that nobody has access to the password. Yeah. We were mentioning about password hygiene. Quite a fair bit of places are now asking for 12-character password, special character combination, alphabetical, alphanumeric, as well as case sensitivity. All these are very nice stuff. Nice stuff. But it makes it very difficult for you to remember. Yeah, so this part is a little bit bad. Don't reuse password too frequently. That's not very good. So we were talking about password manager. That's one of them. Review, adjust privacy settings to make sure that your information is only visible to friends that you know, and be very careful about accepting friend requests. Okay, so like I tell people, you go to LinkedIn, you look for me, you find me there. My picture is there. I don't have a lot of posts. I like have 2 posts. I think I have 1 or 2 posts. Then after I have a lot of comments for my students who pass exam and I congratulate them. Yeah, but if you want to link into me, then you have to be a bit, I don't link into anyone unless I really know you per se. So yeah, so you be careful as well about accepting requests from unknown people. Okay, what can you do? Any mechanism that allow the MFA and 2FA, I think if it is not too troublesome for you, I encourage you to use. Example, Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator. Yeah, example. It is actually a very, very strong deterrent to identity theft because they will need to compromise your 2FA as well. Okay, is it possible for them to compromise the 2FA? Have, but it is harder. It's always possible, but it's way, way harder. They have to compromise your phone, and then they will have to be able to see you type in the 2FA thingy along the way, and then after that compromise it and then take over the account. So it will not be so easy. Will I share the slides with you all? The slides are available. You go to the provider that I'm representing today. It's called ASK. We will give you the link in a little short while. Yeah, so hopefully it's useful. Next, regular security audits, especially with the social accounts that you're using. Yeah, your phone, your endpoint, your tablets, your laptops, please patch, especially if there's a security flaw, or please patch them. Next, educate yourself and your network people, because educating yourself is not the best way to do it. Let's say if someone impersonates you, accept your friend links, and they ask them for money and they do it, that's like not your fault. But if your network is educated, that's like good also. Okay, beware of public Wi-Fi risks. It's just a word of advice. Don't use public Wi-Fi access, please. Like the one you get from Starbucks or the one you get from Coffee Bean or whatever. Try not to do that. Try not to do that, because I'm not saying their Wi-Fi is bad. You really don't know it's their Wi-Fi. You could be using another attacker's Wi-Fi. They call themselves wireless at Starbucks. Yeah, just have to be very careful. Okay. Use secure websites. Secure websites, not in the sense that it is HTTPS. You have to really verify that the website belongs to the actual party. Yeah, so have to really know it belongs to the actual party. Okay. Yeah, I will not demo that one because it's a little bit sensitive. I've got one more to do. So be vigilant, be proactive, monitor your consumption on the cloud, on the internet, employ strong security measures like what I've shared with you. Come for awareness webinars with us. Okay, let me see. Okay, so we have, okay, I will have a little bit more to share with you. Yeah, so we are representing, I'm representing ASK in this webinar in the sharing. Of course, we are running it for NLP. We are a training organization. So I'm going to do the marketing part. I'm done already. Okay, I have 1 minute to do marketing. We have conversion program, yeah, transition program to bring people from other industry into the IT and digital marketing industry. We have 95% funding, which is from the agencies that's available. These are some of the programs that we have. the URL, the QR code you see is over there on the right-hand side. The better way is to do the email, but if you want to have straight access, you can just use the QR code that we have there. Okay. And then let me see, what's the last one that we have? Let me see. I'm sorry, I almost overrun. Okay. So this is our presentation slide. They'll give you the link, and you can take the link available and use whatever QR code that's available. I will be here until they shut down the thing. I think I have to hand over to let me see. Is it Debbie? Yeah, I have to hand over to Debbie, which is my host. Okay, Debbie, I'm done ready. You want to take over?
Okay, thank you so much, Johnson. Everyone, do join me in thanking Johnson if you enjoyed today's session. You can do so through the chat box, or you can use the emoji reacts as well. Yeah, whichever is your preference. Okay, so just a couple of minutes more, so that I can share some library resources that are related to today's topic. Okay, so first of all, if you haven't already downloaded the NLB mobile app, this is actually like a one-stop shop for everything in the library. So if you want access to our ebooks, e-newspapers, e-magazines, as well as other NLB programs and more, you can actually check it out in the NLB mobile app. Okay, and for some recommended resources that are pertaining to today's topic on cybersecurity, so we have 3 titles to recommend. If you're interested in the titles, you can go ahead and take a screenshot of the slide, or you can take a picture. Yeah, so don't worry, this QR code is safe to scan. This one is the go.gov link. Yeah, so this one has been checked by the stat bot. Yeah, so don't worry about it. Okay, anyway, so the first title that we have to recommend for today is called the Cyber Attack Survival Manual. So this is available both, I think this is available physically. And the summary of the book is from identity theft to the darknet, cybersecurity experts share practical advice, interesting examples, and fascinating insights to protect yourself and loved ones in the digital world. Okay, the next title that I have to recommend is How Cybersecurity Really Works. So this one is a comprehensive introduction into cybersecurity. So with this book, you can learn how to defend yourself and your organization, and it's suitable for any readers who want a hands-on guide. Okay, and the last title that I have is Go Hack Yourself. So with this book, you can learn to perform common attacks on yourself, but safely, of course, to gain an insightful hands-on introduction into the world of hacking. So from this, you can actually reveal how vulnerable your systems may be and learn how to guard against such attacks. Yeah. So again, if you're interested in this title, you can go ahead and take a screenshot or take a picture of the slide. Okay. And then if you're interested in more programs like this, you can actually sign up for the digital readiness mailing list. So any programs that are related to digital readiness, they will be sending out notifications to your email inbox. You can either scan the QR code or you can use the link as well. So it's go.gov.sg/dr PROGINTEREST. Okay, so in the interest of time, you can also just take a picture of this slide and save it for later. Yeah, I'll just leave it up for 2 more seconds. Okay, and for other programs, so one of the series that we have under our digital readiness topics is called Future of Work. So for these, the topics are related to skills and trends that are relevant to the future digital workplace. So some examples of the topics that these programs cover would be about generative artificial intelligence, or Python and Excel, or digital productivity. Yeah, so if you're interested in these programs, you can go ahead and either scan the QR code or you can use the link that's below. Yeah, so again, you can go ahead and take a picture of this if you want to save it for later. So I'll leave it up for just a few more seconds again. Okay, and our second series that we have, which is actually the series that today's talk is part of, is called My Digital Life. So for this series, we talk about how technology impacts our daily lives. Yeah, so the related topics that we have would be on social media, on media literacy, or on cyber safety, which is today's. Yeah, so again, if you're interested in more topics like this, go ahead and scan the QR code, or you can take a picture also to see for later. Okay, and the very, very last slide that I have. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed today's talk, or if you feel that there's any areas for improvement, do let us know. It's a very quick survey form. It's like a 2-minute kind of thing. Yeah, so it will really be very helpful for us if you could help us to provide your feedback so that we can cater our programs to best suit your learning needs. Yeah, so I'll just leave this QR code up for a few more seconds. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions about programs or about the ASK courses as well, you can go ahead and drop them in the chat. Yeah, so I'll leave the room open for this maybe like 1 or 2 more minutes. Okay, I think there are no questions coming in about whether it's about the programs or about ASK courses. Yeah, so we can actually end today's session here. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed the talk and do join us for future programs. Thank you. Okay. Have a great Saturday ahead, everyone. I'll be closing the room now. Bye-bye.